Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host. I'm welcoming you, episode 134. We are in season 5 in the American Business Podcast, and we are streaming live from New York City. As you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and quote of the day: the difference between good and great results is often found in consistently doing the boring things you know you should do exactly when you feel like doing them the least. And today's number, $31.8 trillion. The US economy is projected to remain the world's largest in 2026, and nominal GDP forecasted to reach $31.8 trillion for 2026. Okay, great. Well, we have a special guest in the American Business Podcast. Let me invite our guest to our virtual stage and let's get the conversation started. All right, perfect. Hello, Dean. Welcome to the American Business Podcast.
Kevin, pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is all mine. It's very nice to meet you in the American Business Podcast. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, pleasure for me to be here.
Yeah, appreciate it. How is your week going so far?
My week is coming to an end, so it's had its ups and it's had its downs. I think it's ending on an upside now. So
Okay.
this is a good way to end the week.
Okay, yeah, that's good to hear. So, how was last year for you? How was 2025? Any reflections on 2025 and on your expectations from 2026?
Yeah, okay. Well, 2025 was a good year for us, actually, unexpectedly, because I was in 2024 expecting 2025 to maybe not as good as it was, but it turned out to be an exceptional year for us, and I'm looking forward to another exceptional year as well.
Okay, okay. Well, that's definitely good to know. And where are you connecting from?
Based in New York City.
Okay, perfect. Just like us, and it's such a cold day for New York City. It's a record cold. So hopefully it's gonna warm up in coming weeks.
Yes, let's not talk about the cold. Let's just think about being warm. Like so many other things, it will come to an end sooner or later.
It'll pass too. You're right. Sounds good. Well, okay. Let's start our conversation if that's okay. As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our viewers?
Sure, of course. For about 35 years, my work has been in consulting and training. And my company right now is Dean Foster Global Cultures. But I had a previous company, which was DFA Intercultural Global Solutions. And before that, it was Dean Foster Associates. All of the work has always been in providing cultural training and support for businesses working in other countries. So we help businesses who are looking to do business abroad to understand the culture. We don't do the legal work, we don't do the financial work, we don't do the paperwork, but we come in and we help you understand what you need to know about how people think, about how they do business, how they run meetings, how they expect to socialize and get projects taken care of. So we talk about all of the cultural impacts that can affect your business success in another country.
Yes. It's actually a very important service. Um, and well, I know you're also a published author. Would you please tell us about your book as well?
Yes, I just came out with a new book called Business Beyond Borders: Stories, Tales, and Lessons Learned from Working in 100 Cultures Around the World. And these are my stories. These are the things that actually happened to me in doing the kind of work that I do over the last 35 years. And I have worked in over 100 countries around the world. And so these are stories of what I did right and what I did wrong, and the things that my clients did right and the things that my clients did wrong. And hopefully the readers can learn something about working in these cultures that they didn't know before. But Kevin, this is my sixth book, and I've written five books before this one as well, all in the same area.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And in the American Business Podcast, we always appreciate published authors. I'm myself a published author. I know how much hard work it goes into a book. And also, as a published author, it also shows your generosity. You work hard, you put this together, and you share with the business community. How generous of you. So we truly appreciate it, and we love talking about the book. So the last book, which also thank you so much for sending these, and I had a chance to review it in general, and I found it to be very interesting. So, what made you write the book? If you can tell us about the story a little bit. How did you start writing the book? What got you motivated? That'd be great.
Right. Well, as I said, I had written 5 books before, and the 5 books before were mainly how to. So, when in China doing business, do this. When in India doing business, don't do that. When running a meeting in Brazil, this is the best way. When criticizing or critiquing the performance of an individual in Japan, do it this way, don't do it that way. So there were lots of do's and don'ts, lots of how to's. But it was time for me to come up with another book, and I said this to my agent, and my agent said, "But you've already said everything about culture in your other books. What will make this book different?" And I
Mhm.
said, "This book is my stories. It's not how to and do this and don't do that. It's what happened to me." And so I let the reader decide what's the best way and what it means for them and what did they learn from it, from what happened to me. So it was a different kind of book, and it was time to tell that book, and that's why I wanted to write it.
Yeah, these are great insights. And the book is available on Amazon and other place that the audience can get the book.
Yes, the book is available on Amazon, at Bookshop,
Mhm.
just about Barnes and Noble, just about wherever you want to get a book. Just go online and order Business Beyond Borders. It's right there, and they'll ship it right to you.
Yeah, this is really great. So I'm in enterprise software business. So we make business software systems, and we do business in internationally. So just the insights that you mentioned very important. And sometimes we go to or we interact with a market that we never interacted before, and they have their own ways of customs and doing business. Also, I'm with an organization called Hapak Industrial Association on Long Island. It's right by the Hapak Industrial Park, one of the largest industrial parks in northeast part of US. And I'm a co-chair of Manufacturing and International Trade Committee. And we facilitate educational events, especially for manufacturing as well as international trade. And one of the international trade related events or event time, I must say, is how to do business. So we so far covered how to do business with France, how to do business with Germany, how to do business with Vietnam, China, and we had like whole series how to do business with Taiwan. And we connected with Taiwanese embassy or business association just to get some insights. And there is a lot to learn. I mean, this is really like important to understand as business people, especially if you are doing business international. And that's great that you actually share your professional insights in that way in this book.
Yes, one of the things I think that is often overlooked is culture. The first thing the business person thinks about is, well, what are the legal things I need to know? What are the financial things I need to know? Uh, but getting beyond those nuts and bolts in looking at culture is something that is often overlooked. And we know time and time again that if you don't get the culture right, if you don't understand how people negotiate, how they make decisions, how they run meetings, that sooner or later, if you don't get the culture right, nothing is going to work, even if all the paperwork is in place. So, this is where we come in, specifically about the cultural issues.
Very complimentary, very important. Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing all these insights. Okay. Well, we love to learn more about you, if that's okay. You have decades of experience. Um, how can you tell us about your career journey? How did you get started? How your career journey has unfolded over the years?
Yes, I graduated university right here in New York City with a degree in anthropology and sociology. And this was many, many, many years ago. And my dad was a very practical man. And he said, "What are you going to do with a degree in anthropology? What kind of career can you have?" And at the time, this is going back to the early 70s, I wasn't concerned about that. I was a very young man, and all I wanted to do was have adventures. And but I didn't see myself digging in the ground and turning over rocks and doing academic work as an alternative. I wanted to do something with my anthropology and my sociology background. And this was just at a time when US businesses were beginning to globalize. And I was very fortunate because I came across a body of academic research that showed how people do business differently in different cultures. And I thought this was terrific information for US businesses that were looking to do business in other countries. They really needed this information. So we put together a consulting and training organization, me and a few of my colleagues, to talk about all of these aspects of business that people needed to know before they went and did business in another country. And we discovered that nobody was providing this information. We were the very first consulting company to offer specifically cultural niche information. And at first, a lot of businesses that we went to thought it was a good idea, but didn't really understand the value of it until they had problems. And then once they had problems, they came back to us and then they said, please help us solve the problem. So it took a while for businesses to really get on board with what we were saying. But once they realized they needed this information, then the train moved out of the station very, very fast. And we have had great success over the last 35 years. Right now, there are other companies that also offer this information, and you can get this information online. There's tons of information about how to do business in different countries. Um, but what we do is we go in and help develop strategy and help consult and coach people on new behaviors that they need to use that will be successful in their work in other countries.
How is your day to day work? Can you tell us about your day to day work experience, exciting parts, challenging parts on daily basis?
The challenging part, of course, is always working with the client, finding out what their needs are,
Mhm.
what cultures are they in, what is the greatest pain that they're having, and to design a way of addressing those issues and solving those issues for them. And clients can be very demanding, as you know. They have their own ideas about how things should be done, and they turn to us for professional advice. And we hope that our advice fits with their needs and helps to solve their problems. So it's very, I think more recently with the development of technology and the development of the technology tsunami, being able to provide the solutions that we think are correct in both virtually and face to face in face to face consulting as well as virtual consulting has been a challenge for us. But like all of us, we've been able to create solutions that are technology based as well as face to face based, and so we can do this work. We can provide this information both via technology as well as classic classic training.
Yeah, that's actually a fascinating service. And about your company, what is your vision for your company's future?
Well, I think one of the things that we've always been concerned about is that if we grew fast enough and big enough, that we would put ourselves out of business. Because once people know where to go for this kind of information, they're going to start to get it right as opposed to get it wrong. And then how much of a need will there be for this cultural information? What we found, of course, is that the need keeps growing because the opportunities for global work keep expanding. We know that people always are turning. Today, when you work in a business, whether you're a startup out of a garage or whether you work for a global multinational, you are working globally. You are sourcing information, you are sourcing talent, you are looking for new markets, and it's all global. If you only look for work and opportunities within your domestic market, you won't succeed. Most of the opportunities, in fact, more and more, are in the global market. So there is always an expanding need for this information, and we've been very heartened to see that. And so our challenges really have been to keep up with the growth, because the growth has always been there. We haven't had, I think there were 2 or 3 years where we didn't experience the growth that we anticipated, but that was due to political issues that were unanticipated. Right after 9/11, and then again after the economic problems of 2008 and 2009. Um, but very quickly we bounced back because all of the opportunities to get back on track for all of our clients were
Mhm.
global, and they needed to understand how to work globally. And that's where we come in.
Absolutely, makes a lot of sense. Do you see any challenges facing the organization?
How to keep up with the demand, yes. How to be able to provide this information in new ways. Um, Originally, we had to, of course, come up with a virtual versions of our consulting and training interventions. Um, but also, we want to expand to new markets. Excuse me, go beyond just the Fortune 500 companies that we deal with and the new business ventures that are starting out instantly global. Um, More than just business people, everyone who travels needs to understand this information. So even leisure travelers can have a much richer experience in their work when they go abroad than they currently have if they understand the culture. Students who go and study abroad need to understand the culture so that they don't get themselves in trouble, and so
Mhm.
that they also experience the most that they can get out of their study abroad experience. So there's a vast market for cultural information that we want to tap into, and that's what we're looking at.
How do you see the state of your industry?
Well, we're in the consulting and talent development industry, and for most businesses, that means we are an HR function. So that if an organization is looking to develop its global talent, to create what we like to call culturally competent managers and culturally competent executives and culturally competent teams, they need to provide training and consulting support so that they can perform at levels of excellence around the world. And as a consulting and talent development function, we are always interfacing with HR, with human resources. And so the more human resources have this need, the more the more we can come in and help solve their problems.
How do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays, based on your professional observation and experience?
Yes, overwhelming. This is this makes the original technology tsunami look like a small little wave. I don't think anyone can accurately predict the immense effect that AI is having on all businesses and on simply the idea and the concept of work itself. I think we will all be working very, very differently. The whole idea of having a job is going to be revolutionized because of AI. And the whole idea of accessing information is, in fact, the fundamental to AI. So I can't even predict how and and in what areas this will be impacting, because it will impact all areas. But I can predict that the degree of the impact will be revolutionary.
You have decades of professional experience and leadership in your field. So, based on that, what are the best marketing practices for the highest ROI nowadays?
Well, I think the best market practices is to prepare yourself and your team with the information that you need and the skills to be culturally competent, because you can't walk away from culture. You cannot walk away from the impact it has on your work. And sooner or later, you can't walk away from the global markets. So, being able to work effectively and successfully in these markets is your responsibility. And that I think is probably the greatest challenge. One of the uh, initial responses that people often have to considering why it's important to work with cultural differences is an allergic reaction to the whole idea. It's much easier to pretend that I don't need this information. It's much easier to say, look, I'm busy enough every day with what I have to do. The last thing I want to do is deal with something else, something called culture. But if you don't deal with it, and if you pretend that it's not going to affect you, if you don't develop the competencies you need, it will eat your lunch.
That's a great insight. I appreciate it. Okay. Well, how would you define leadership? And what are the great leadership qualities a good leader must have from your point of view?
That's a very interesting question, Kevin, because I've been reading many studies on how leadership is viewed differently in different cultures. So the role of a leader in one culture looks XYZ, and that same leader looks not so good in another culture. And so, again, a leader of a global team has a real challenge because the expectations of their team are going to be different if they're coming from different countries. But I think all good leaders, no matter what culture we're in, allow their team to develop the solutions that the team requires. The best leaders, I think, universally, are those who don't provide the answers, but provide the questions and allow their team to come up with the answers and guide the team to the answers that they need based on the questions that they ask them.
I love it. I love it. Thank you very much for this insight. It's actually really, really insightful. In your career journey, have you had any role models, any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
Yes, and when you asked the question about my career earlier, I ignored a good part of my life, which was a completely different career. So I'm one of those people who have had several different careers and several different professional lives, some of which were unrelated. When I first left college, and before we had this idea of providing cultural consulting, I was deeply involved in music, and I thought I was going to have a musical career. But things didn't work out that way, and I'm very very happy they didn't because I'm very happy they worked out the way that they did. But I've had mentors and people to support my journey from various fields, both anthropology, business, sociology, academics, music, and art. And I'm very grateful for all of them because if there was one common thread to all of them, it was don't question yourself so much if you know that you're working from a deep place that gives you great satisfaction. So I would wonder, because I had these different interests and these different careers, I would sometimes doubt myself as to which one I should do and which way should I go. And all of my mentors, wherever they came from, were very supportive of the fact that I had these multiple interests and therefore were very supportive of the challenge of making these decisions of which way should I go. And that kind of support helped me make the right decisions and took me to the place I'm at now. And I'm very grateful for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's very motivational. If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
Be very careful with your details and leave the big thinking, the big dreaming to the big strategy. But don't overlook the details because that can get you in serious trouble. And I think the degree to which you stay close and keep close track on everything from numbers, um, costs, financial analysis, to the details of your responsibilities as a manager with your team. And I mean the details, remembering everybody's birthday, taking responsibility for um, in, being involved to the degree that your team wants you involved in their personal lives. It takes an awful lot of energy and effort to stay focused on the details while dreaming the big picture at the same time. And this is a 48-hour day career. But those who can manage to do that well, I think, are the ones who succeed.
Well, okay. Is there a book, a movie, a show that helped you shape your career perspective over the years?
Oh my, so many, because I think art gives you a perspective uh, on business that you must have to understand how human beings relate with each other in order to keep your business alive. Whatever your business is, whether it's manufacturing or in computers or programming or selling a house. Um, an artistic vision, an artistic perspective gives you something unique, I think, and very deep and very wise. Um, but so movies, books, great literature, um, great movies, great shows, great theater, anything that's great, that's really perfect, or as close as we humans can get to perfect, I think is inspirational for business. But also good business writing, good business thinking. One of my mentors, in fact, was one of the leaders of the academic research on how businesses do business differently in different cultures. His name was a Dutchman, Geert Hofstede, and he wrote some of the seminal works on understanding cultural differences in the workplace. So I'm very grateful for his work, and I found his work very inspirational and very timely for me as well as for the clients that I work with.
What is the best business career advice that you ever received, and what is the worst one that you ever received?
The best business advice was don't ever stop. Don't stop. Don't walk away. If you believe it, keep going, keep going, keep going. Find a way to keep going. The worst business advice I ever got was why don't you stop and just try to something else? So it was the other side of the same coin, but
Mhm.
that was the worst. The best was keep going no matter what.
Yes, the other one is the opposite. Yes,
Exactly.
yes, makes sense. What is your career advice for next generation professionals?
I think the next generation professionals have to follow their heart because nobody knows what kind of profession is going to be available due to AI and due to the other changes in the world. So the only thing you can count on are your own talents and your own passions. And if there was ever a time never to doubt them, it will be now and in the near future.
In this episode in the American Business Podcast, is there any question that you had expected me to ask you, but I didn't ask you?
Was it hard to write the book?
Okay, okay, that's a good point. So yeah, how was the experience of writing the book? Was it hard? How did you experience it?
You know, there are things about writing a book that are terribly hard. And every time I finish a book, I say, I'll never do it again.
Yet it's the sixth one, right?
It is the sixth one, correct?
Hopefully, many more to come. Hopefully, yes. These are
Yeah.
great insights. Absolutely.
Um, I really do enjoy the art of writing, the process of writing. I like the idea of sharing my thoughts. I like to believe that people find them useful and I want to share them with people. And I enjoy putting my thoughts and observations together and writing it and putting it down on paper, or on the computer. But um, but it's hard work, and
It is.
it's
Yes.
really exhausting. And I don't find it so exhausting to put my words together. What I find exhausting is whether or not I'm going in the right direction, and I'm fearful that maybe I made a terrible, terrible mistake that I cannot fix. Fortunately, I don't think that's happened, but I'm always afraid of that.
Yes, yes, it makes a lot of sense. Well, in the American Business Podcast, we have a little tradition. So I have a question coming from our previous guest, and I'll ask you that question. And after that, I'll ask you to leave a question with me in this episode. So I'll ask the question to our coming guest.
Oh, okay.
So the question coming from our previous guest is, how is your vibe?
My vibe today is very exciting. I'm glad to be here. I'm up.
Okay, that's great. That's good to know. And hopefully the American Business Podcast also contributed that. Hopefully, so that's good. All right, sounds good. Appreciate it. And your question that you like to leave here with me for our next guest.
Okay. How much of your business are you anticipating to come from global work as opposed to domestic work?
Okay, that's a great question. We'll make sure to ask in our next episode. Okay, well, is there any question that you would like to ask me in this episode?
No, I think I'm very, very interested in the success you've had. You have this wonderful podcast.
Thank
I
you.
also have a podcast called Oops, Your Culture's Showing.
Oh, wow.
And it's all about understand. We have fun with culture. We talk about the differences not only in business but in daily life.
Hmm.
And so it's been fun for me to do that. And so someday we should compare our podcast experiences. That would be
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I definitely welcome it because we are the American Business Podcast. So, the business is definitely touches culture in so many ways. Even within the U.S., we have heritages, right? We have different heritages, and that sometimes reflect on how we do business. So, in that sense, we talk about this, and also internationally it's your expertise, whole different game, and we all need to learn something new in that sense. So, absolutely, that'd be a really really fun conversation. And how long your podcast has been around?
for about 4 years now.
Oh wow, amazing, amazing. Yes, yes. I'll make sure to listen. It's an audio podcast
Yes, it
or
is.
video. Okay,
Yes,
okay. So I'll make sure to check Spotify, Amazon Music, uh, and listen.
great.
That'd be great. Well, thank you for letting us know. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, for those who like to be in touch with you, who like to learn more about your company, what is the best way that they can be in touch with you and learn about your organization?
DeanFosterGlobal.com. Just go to the website. You'll see all my writings, all my articles, all my books. There'll be culture quizzes where you can test yourself to see how much you know about doing business in other countries, and lots of fun things and informative things as well. So, DeanFosterGlobal.com.
Thank you very much. Well, Dean, thank you so much for being with us
It's a
in your
pleasure.
busy schedule. Yes, I enjoyed it very much. It was a great conversation. Hopefully, we'll do it again. Maybe we can dive deeper into some of your experiences and some anecdotes that we can talk about. I'm sure there are great experiences and memories that you like to share, and we can do it in the next episode, hopefully.
Look forward to it, Kevin.
Thank you
Anytime.
so much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for sharing your professional insight and professional wisdom with us. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. And to our audience and to our listeners, we'll be right back after a short break. Thank you very much.